Hi. Today I would love to share a concept with you that my mentor shared with me, who's a business and self-development mentor that I learned a lot from. His name is Peter Sage. And this concept is called the 4 levels of value. So this has to do with making money, earning money, and the effort that is associated with that. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because a lot of people are not making a lot of money and they work very hard and they don't understand why they are not making more money than they do, or they have a lot of effort in their job and they're just not feeling very fulfilled. Maybe they earn a lot, but they're not very fulfilled. So this is a really amazing concept that's going to open your mind and maybe set you on a new path. So that's the why I'm sharing this. And what am I going to share with you? I'm basically going to walk you through the 4 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of how you can create value in the world for other people, and by creating value, make money. Then, that's the what. I'm going to walk you through that, allow you to understand that, and by understanding that, you might get some new ideas for your own life, or maybe you're going to go on a new path in your life. And I found this idea extremely empowering. That's why I want to share this. Then how are we going to do this? I'm just going to be drawing here. I'm going to be doing some graph and some explanation, very basic level stuff, and helping you understand it. So what if you do? So you might say, okay, why should I invest this time now, this 5-10 minutes? Because when we think and act in the way that we are used to, we will keep creating the same circumstances in our life when we do that. So in order to switch out of that, we need to learn new ideas. We need to open our mind to new stuff. So you have your head here. You're kind of like, not so happy. And if your head is closed, then you're going to stay like this. But if you kind of open your head and you allow new stuff to come in, you're like, maybe there's some new stuff I can learn. Then that is a very good thing, and that is a behavior you want to start to exhibit in your life, because the more you get open to new ideas, the more you become able to change who you are. And when you can change who you are, then what you attract into your life is going to change as well. So that's why I'm going to share this. What if you do? Well, you open yourself up to change, and not only in the way you feel, but also in the way of opportunities in your life, and how you can live your life in a way that is more satisfying. What if you don't do it? Then you're probably gonna stay at the level you're at. If you're happy with that, feel free to close that. But if you feel like, I want to change, I want to grow, I want to expand my perspective, then go ahead and have a listen. I think this will be valuable for you to invest this time. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's start the 4 levels. Whoops. Okay, so you have basically 4 levels. There's a first level, second level, third level, fourth level. At the very base, it's in society. We have society as a whole, and we have people that fulfill a certain role in society. So at the very base level, you have what we call implementors. Implementation is about making stuff happen. It's about doing stuff with your hands. This can be manual labor jobs. This can be, like a hairdresser, like people who clean the street, people who serve at the restaurant. It's like you do manual labor and you create value through that. And the disadvantage with that is that it's not paid very well. Like you can't make a lot of money in those kind of jobs. And you have a cap. So this starts at minimum wage and it goes up to, let's say, around 80K a year. And you can't progress from that. Like you're stuck at that level, and you can't really make a lot more money by doing that. And so the illusion that people have at this level is, if I work harder, then I will earn more money. And while that is true, you might earn a little more. There's a cap. You can't really properly earn money by doing that. You're always going to be capped, and it's going to be very hard work. Plus, you have the threats. Like we know, there's AI. A lot of people get scared. They're like, oh, what if I get replaced? You know, the automatic counter in the supermarket, what's going to happen? So it's a kind of insecure level to be at that level. And it's not bad. And some people, they choose to do that because they're like, yes, I can relax while I do manual work and my life is about something else. But if you feel like this is dissatisfying, I'm just giving you the reasons and the context for that. And the reality is that in society, value being contributed is rewarded at different levels. And physical manual labor work is not rewarded at the level of certain other things that I will get into on the higher levels here. Okay, so you have this level and you're kind of stuck at that level. But then you can go to the next level. And maybe that's when let's say you work in a bar, let's say you're a bartender, and then you go to the next level. You say, no, I'm going to climb the ladder of career. And what we have there is the unifiers. Okay, implementation is about implementing certain ideas, maybe in a big project, like you're building a street, that's like an idea, somebody else kind of designed that, you're implementing that. Unifiers is you bring people together, like you have certain people and you allow them to work together harmoniously. So you become a leader, you become like a manager. And of course the earnings are much higher, like you can make a lot more money. Let's say we have 50K to 250K, like you can make a lot per year. You can make a lot more money here, but there are downsides to this. Like down here we have at the implementer level, there's a lot of hours and you have to basically work very hard in that. And then when you go to the unifier level, there is another issue because what you're working with is you have a team to manage, and what comes from that is there's a lot of stress associated with that because you have to manage people and it's hard to control external circumstances, to control people. So there's usually a lot of stress involved with that. And certainly the people that I know that either have a company and they have a lot of employees, or for example, my girlfriend who's in a leadership position, she is certainly having a different level of stress from managing people, having a lot of responsibility than you would have at the implementer level. And the thing here is, there's another, and Peter called this a lie. He said the lie down here is if I work harder, I'm going to earn more. The lie here up there is if I learn more, I'm going to earn more. And while that is true to some extent, you're still capped. Because in society, like with these roles, it's just not possible to ascend to a higher level by doing this thing. So you're capped at a certain point, you're capped, right? And like I said, here it's like you're worried about money. Here it's you're worried about your team, about the responsibilities. You have a lot of stress, right? So that's of course, this here you have you earn more than here, right? So it's a different quality and it's a different life. It's your decision what you want to do. I'm just pointing out the different layers. Okay, so what you can do then on the next one, you might ask, what's the next one? What's the next level? And here's what he called communicators. So what is a communicator? A communicator is somebody that uses their mouth to deliver value. It's always about delivering value. Down here, you deliver value here with your hands, right? You have your hands and you deliver value with your hands, basically, right? You do something, manual labor. Here, you deliver value by managing your team, managing people. And here, you deliver value by communicating ideas. Let's say you are a speaker. You speak to people, let's say you're a motivational speaker even, right? Or let's say you are a speaker on some certain business matters, What you do is you speak and you reach a lot of people, right? And if you go online and you start a blog maybe, or you write articles, you can reach a lot of people. And what does that mean? If you reach a lot of people, it means that you can deliver a lot of value, because each of those people, each person, each man and woman that you reach there will receive value from you, sharing whatever you have to share, the value you have to give. And that means the value you can deliver is exponentially higher than if you're stuck at the lower levels. And this is why this is rewarded more. You know, if you're a singer, let's say, you're an artist and you play to an audience of, let's say, a few thousand people, you give value to each single person because you make them feel happy, you get them in touch with their emotions, you let them have a good time, and that's value people want to pay for. Or if you're a speaker on sales and you talk to a whole company of, like, let's say 200 sales representatives, people who sell, then you're going to give value to each single one of them. If you have a blog, if you have some kind of way of teaching people, and not just a single person, but if you can work with a group, then you can exponentially increase the value that you can give out. And this means the cap here is much higher. And what Peter said is the cap here is like a 10 million. You can go to 10 million. And these caps, I guess he has these numbers from experience and from studying the market. I wouldn't know these numbers by myself, but just thinking logically through it. When you look here, like, that's from your gut level, that's clear that if you use your hands, you're going to earn less. If you manage people, you're going to earn more, but you're going to be at some cap, because even if you're in a business and you're a CEO or you're some person who manages, the business will always pay you less than the value you bring into the business, because that's how the business functions. That if you run a business yourself, you're going to get paid less than they make with your work, because otherwise there's no profit, right? And if you communicate, of course, you need channels to communicate to people, and it's just the way that it works. It doesn't deliver as much as the highest level. But let's say at this communicator level, you're pretty well off. And this is the area that, for example, if you're a coach and you work with a group of people, that's where you're at. And if you do it right, you can make a lot of money with a lot less stress than if you're a manager, than if you manage people. Of course, it matters what you want to do, what you enjoy. If you enjoy managing people and doing that, go ahead and do it. I'm just trying to open your mind, like I said here, open your mind to new ideas. And if you open your mind to new ideas, you're going to be able to attract different circumstances. Maybe that's money. Maybe that's loving people in your environment, because your mind is just open to a different way of living. And yeah, that's just amazing to do that. So this is why we're going through these levels, right? So what do you have at the highest level? He said at the highest level you have imaginators. These are the people that create ideas, that bring value into society that is unique. These are people that are creative. They have a creative idea and they bring it into the world. And this is rewarded the most in our society. And we often think that people who are here, they're like geniuses and they're so different. And while I'm not saying there's not geniuses, my understanding and my personal experience with that is that we all have ideas. And the reason that a lot of us don't share these ideas is because we're self-conscious and we think my idea is not good enough, nobody's gonna like it. So there's a cap to those, and to climbing from down here up there is a thing that caps us. We have these money caps here and here, but there is a different cap that is in our mind, up here where I talk about this. There is a cap in our mind, and the cap in our mind, it's our self-image, our beliefs, who we believe we are and what we believe is possible for us. And this is why descending up here, it takes work, and it takes the openness to new ideas, to new concepts, taking that stuff in and making a change and doing work with your emotions. And that's a lot of work. But if you invest that work to get up, to move up these levels, then what is possible is that you exponentially increase your income and you can completely change your experience of life. So while in my personal experience, the biggest factor in our experience of life, and this is also a metaphor I got from Peter, is if you go here and if we have, like, we say we have a glass of water, he brings this metaphor, right? And you have some water in there, and you're like, oh, I don't like this water. Let's say this is like colorless water, and you say, no, I want to put in some new water, and I'm going to take this glass and I'm going to put in some liquid, and it's like blue liquid. You're like, yes, and you stir it and you try to change this, and you kind of try to change the content of the water here. And this is like fighting to change our external reality in our world. And oftentimes it doesn't go as we like to. But there's a different way to do it. And the way to do it is by changing the context. So this is the content. And this is the context. Context is how we hold things. In the example of the work I do, I work with divorced fathers. Like, you can't change the content of what happened. You know, if you have a divorce and if the water is, let's say it's red, right? Or it's green, you can't change that. Like, maybe sometimes people, they come back together, they get back together with their ex. But you can't really have so much control over that. You can take steps in that direction if you want, but you can't control that per se. But what you have absolute control over, what nobody can take away from you, is the glass itself. And this is how you hold the situation, right? If you hold the situation in a different way, if you hold it in a, let's say, blue way, right, then immediately the liquid, it hasn't changed. It's the same liquid. You're not trying to change the liquid, pour it out, clean the glass, get some new liquid, color it, put it in, but you just take a different glass, right? And in this metaphor, like, okay, it's not so easy to change the glass itself, right, because it's a different color glass. But you can create this, because this glass, it's in your mind. It's non-physical. The glass is not physical because the glass is the context. The context, right? And you change the context, your experience changes. The color of the water changes. Your life changes. Without changing anything about the external situation. You're still divorced. You might still see your kids less than you used to, right? But you are feeling differently because they're like, oh, I learned this and that. And this is an exercise I take my clients through where we reframe that and where we look at what did you learn from this divorce and what were the gifts that you got from that. And I know personally I got to a place where I'm like, I love that this happened because I am at the place now where I'm much happier with myself. I'm much more at peace. So I changed the glass. I changed it from, oh, I lost my family to, no, I'm so happy with where I am, right? And you can even do this when we go back to these levels. You can do this even if you're at the implementer. Let's say you're a taxi driver, for example, right? You are doing your job and maybe it's a lot of work, but if you hold it in a way where you're like, oh, I hate this job, this is so bad. Like, that's one way to view it, right? But you can view it in a way like, oh, I'm showing up for my family. You know, this job might be hard and a lot of work, but I'm showing up for my family. I'm showing up for my kids. I'm enabling them to get a strong foundation in life. Maybe they can go to school, and it might be hard, but I love to do what I do because I really take care of the people that are important to me. And so you can have a pride in that as well. At the same time, what I'm suggesting is take a look at the levels. If you're not happy there, on a certain level, it doesn't make sense to go with resistance to your job every day. If you want to have resistance and you look at this graph and you're like, okay, fuck this. I don't want to stay stuck at this level of implementation. I want to move up, maybe here or maybe here. Maybe I have something to communicate, to contribute. Maybe you want to write something. You want to create art. You want to inspire other people, do something like that. Then take it as a decision, right? You don't go every day with frustration to your job because that's going to wear you down emotionally. But if you take this frustration and like, okay, fuck this, I really want to change this in my life, then you do what I said up there. You open your mind to new information, and the more new information you let in, the more you can begin to change your behavior. So when you change your behavior, that's really the kind of the end goal of understanding this. This doesn't stop at understanding this. This is just to show you that there is a different way. And this makes a difference. If you have this perspective, then you can be like, okay, where do I want to be? And it's not that these people that are earning more, they're not better than you, they're not smarter than you, they're not like, it's just they're playing a different game and they know different things than you know, and they feel about themselves probably a different way. They might have more self-love, they might have more self-trust. And if you don't have these things, then you got to develop them if you want to rise, right? And you might have less resistance, because if you're, and this is a whole different topic, but if you're stuck at the lower levels and you're like, oh, I'm resisting so much, I'm fighting so much. This is a really important point that Peter pointed out, and it's genius. He said at these levels, what you're doing, Unifier and Implementor, is you're focused on the outside world. You're focused on here, on the work you're doing, you need to work harder. And even here, you're managing your team, learning communication skills, this and that. And up here, it's more the world of not the physical, external, but the internal. It's ideas. It's, when you create art, it's in your head. It's coming from the internal. It's coming from your mind, your heart, whatever you call it. And you go from there outside. And you're starting to affect the world much more. You affect other people here by communicating to them, by teaching them something, by inspiring them, by entertaining them. And up here, you're creating new stuff in the world. And an example he brought here is Walt Disney, right? Like he created a talking mouse and he convinced other people that, hey, this is amazing, this is entertaining, this is fun, this is gonna enrich your life. And he made a lot of money with that because he brought value where before there was nothing, and he created it from his own mind, from his own ideas, and he brought it out into the world. And there's a lot of value with that. But if you want to do that, if you want to go to these levels of communication, and if you want to go to this level of imagination, like you want to create something, bring something in this world, and probably artist is somewhere in between those. But I suppose the Imaginator is really stuff that is coming into society that is making a big shift. And if you look at certain artists, right, they had a big impact on society. They were visionaries as well, and that's a lot of the time. Another thing I thought about myself as well is that there is something exciting about art that is about bridging information and connecting information on a right brain, intuitive level that is extremely valuable, that society and the human collective needs in order to develop. So what you want, if you want to move up there, if you're like, okay, I'm stuck here, I'm a taxi driver, I'm a waiter, I'm working a manual job, I'm fucking frustrated with this, understand this, open your mind to change, start reading books, start getting a coach, start finding teachers that inspire you, and then you can start to move up these levels. And the more you connect with your own potential and find love and find harmony in your own life. And I know this sounds general, but a very practical thing is work on your emotional intelligence. If you go to work every day and you're like, fuck this, that's not good. But if you go, fuck this, I want to change this, that's constructive. The other one is going to consume you. If you go to work every day feeling frustrated, then you need to reframe it. You need to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm providing real value for my family, this is important. I'm really providing for my kids, for them to have an education. And that's why I sit in my taxi. That's why I'm doing this manual job, right? And you can feel good about it on that level. But keep this in mind, that the other levels, they are open to you, if you're open to understanding it. Okay. And to going on this path, if you feel drawn, there's going to be a way, right? If you feel the desire to move up the levels, right? So quick recap is why you do this, understand this so you can actually change your income, change your experience of life. What if you do it? Well, you can actually change your life and you can have more enjoyment in your life. Understand the levels, know how you can move up, and just keep learning and keep opening your mind so you can start opening your mind so you can attract new experiences in your life. So this all sounds like a lot. There's a lot of information, but the main thing that I want to get across here is basically to tell you that it's possible to change this, right? And I've experienced this myself. I've been at the Implementor stage. I've been handing out flyers for like 8 or 7, 8 euros an hour. And I realized in that job, there is no growth potential. I'm stuck here. I can't do anything about this. And currently I'm working as a coach, which is in this communication kind of level. And I realized that I can make money here. I can earn money. I can make money in my business with my clients. That is like 3 or 4 times the level that I made before. And it's just insane. And this is open to you. If you can make the internal shift in your mind and in your heart, this is open. This is possible for you. And that's really what I want to get across with this video, is that it's possible to make that shift. If you can start believing that it's possible. And that's what I'm really trying to show you with that video. It's possible to do it. And if you start looking, there are so many people out there who are at these levels. And by understanding this framework that I taught you here, that Peter Sage, who is an amazing mentor, I really love this guy, what this framework is basically saying is, no, it's not that you're stuck here or you're stuck here at money stress, work stress, more money, but still work stress. But you have other amazing levels. And even if you're at these levels, you can find a way to be more in flow, of course, right? But there is this potential to move up. And there are people out there who are doing it. And I'm doing it myself. It's a journey. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of guts to do this, to start your business. Maybe if you're an artist, to go out, do your art. There's uncertainty connected with it. Of course, you have some certainty down there if you have a job, but how much certainty do you really have if you have a job, right? If you can't control you can do your best, but yeah, what about AI? What about if they, need to lay you off or something? What's really the security there? The biggest security that you can develop is internal resources in your mind, in your mindset, and in you having the certainty that you can deal with whatever will come up in your life. That is much more valuable than having job security. It's a much more valuable skill. And knowing that, even if they fire me, I will find a way because I'm so resourceful to still care for my kids. That's a more valuable skill than having the paycheck and have the company say, yes, you're here, right? This is what we've been sold to. But this security, it's like a prison in my mind. This is a prison, right? If you want to break out of this prison, that's why I did this graphic, right? You can see that it is possible. There are people who are doing it. They're not smarter or better than you. They're just at a different level. They're playing at a different level. And if you want to play at a different level, if you want to ascend these levels, keep searching, keep learning, and eventually you're going to get there. I'm trying to encourage you. It's possible to do it. I'm on this path. It's at times very difficult, but it's extremely gratifying to live up and start to fulfill more of your potential. And this is my dream. That's my mission. That's what I'm trying to do with all the fathers that I'm working with. And why am I doing it? Not just for them, but also for the kids. If you're stuck down here, if you're like, and I don't want to bash on the implementation thing, like if you're happy there, that's fine, right? But finding a way to empower people. So because if you're empowered and if you're happy in your life and if you're at peace with yourself and if you're resourceful, who's going to learn that from you? Your kids, because they're going to imitate the way you are. And that's the foundation of how I work with my clients as well. It's about who are you? And when you are a different person, when you are rising up here or when you are more in harmony even down there, then you will have a whole different impact on the people around you as well. So I hope this was inspiring to you, and I wish you an amazing day. Good luck on your journey, and yeah, I'm sending you a lot of love and encouragement. Take care.